on the segment, we're looking at the ministerial nominees. We've been talking about this since the beginning of the week. Now, the point there is Nigerians are watching keenly. Whatever the thing is, the Constitution has given the president the prerogative to choose ministers from anywhere he feels, but has to meet the requirement of choosing at least one from each of the states. It could be a woman from a state or two women from a state. It could be a man, it could be young, it could be an old person, depending on that is a prerogative of the president. But as it is now, Nigerians are very concerned as to the balance between women and men, the balance between the inclusion of youth, the issue of age, and then the issues of profession. So we have in the studio Gbola as well as Alesta Wilcox here in the studio, and they are helping us to make sense of some of these issues. So, Gbola, the point there is that Nigerians are very concerned about the issue of gender balance, the issue of having youth inclusion on the list, and so on. We have, I think, the youngest amongst this persons is about 36 years old, and so on. And then even the balance in profession. A lot of people use the word technocrats and so on. But the president has chosen the people he wants to choose. All of this is in the mix of what he has. But how satisfied are Nigerians? Because it looks like the perception as to what these people are is how Nigerians feel that the president is hitting the ground running in the right direction or not.
I have not done any credible data analysis on what the opinions of Nigerians are. However, I have my own personal opinions. One, I think the president could have done better for the women folk.
Okay.
I am one who believes that the women are not only by our politicians, but indeed by some of us who are in leadership in the private sector. I'm one who believes that we are not quite leveraging the inherent powers of our women folk to add robustly to our developmental strides. Look, and I tell people, I find joy in telling people that this person that people are watching was raised by a single parent. We will go to the market early together on holidays. When I leave school, I go to her, and I could see, and still remembering now, I could see the industry that our women folk put to anything they do. So having said that, beyond Beijing, listen, I am one who believes that, look, let's even try to cut the 35%, but this can't be even up to 35% now because the new list of ministers, given the fact that it was only 25% when the first batch was released, inevitably now it's going to come down to as low as 18 or 19%. So I'm not particularly too... Look, some people, some of my friends would say, Gbola, cynically say, Gbola, but you have Desiani now. Yes, we have Desiani, but I also remind them, we also had, what's the name of this assistant now at WTO?
Yeah, so
for the youths, you see, I must be honest with you, I'm particularly happy with Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, not only because he has populated the list of ministers-designate with some people whose biochronological age fall into what we could call youths, but some youths who have proven records, of excellence in their personal lives, in their entrepreneurial dispositions. Bosun Tijani anywhere in the world is a phenomenon. As recently as about 3 years ago, the guy was lambasting and criticizing the person of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and yet a Bola Ahmed Tinubu wants good enough for Nigeria looked beyond that, and the fact that this guy is not even a partisan, but because he wants somebody who is an achiever in a particular segment of society who can be the motivating and the mobilizing force, he picked the guy. So I'm sitting here that I'm thinking the youth cannot say, look, better Edu, the national women's leader of APC, who inevitably would have to drop that position once she's been confirmed as a minister, she's only 36. And you know what? The world is literally at her feet now to prove. I just hope and pray that they will play to the standard of the expectation, not only of their very acerbic, and I'm choosing my words carefully, very acerbic generation. Because this is a generation of youths that they seldom, maybe we grew up, people like Alesta, we grew up on the Reader's Digest of this world, and we grew up on more thoughtful, information-enriching materials. But these days, like Alesta said earlier on, anybody, we celebrate ignorance at large now. People just post anything without thinking deep, without thinking about the fact that other human beings may be humiliated, without thinking that the core message that should be threading in whatever discourse is going on should be treated with a degree of respect. So I'm sitting here now thinking, for the youths, they can't really complain too much. And let's be honest with ourselves. People complain the most. I don't have credible data. I'm somebody as an entrepreneur who respects data a lot, statistics. I don't have credible data, but I get to hear murmurings of he has overpopulated, especially the second list, with gubernatorial failures in the state. Lalong could not hold the state. Gbola, Oyetola lost Osun, also lost this, Bagudu lost this thing, and so. But you know what? At the end of the day, the man is a politician. And a cycle, in another cycle of 3 to 3.5 years now, he has to seek the revalidation of the Nigerian electorate. But importantly, I was telling somebody yesterday night, where I was socializing, Atiku's presidential aspiration or ambition failed because he did not know that there are some characters, whether you like them or not, but because they are effectively positioned to either add value to you or indeed be stumbling blocks to you, you better carry them along. The governors of the northern APC northern state went beyond the call of duty to help him resist the intimidation coming from the presidency. I'm not saying from the then president, from the presidency, from Aso Rock. They helped him, even when some mischief makers were being used to punish Nigerians. They went ahead not only to assert their support for him, they even went as far as the Supreme Court to litigate the unconstitutionality of those. So are those ones not to be rewarded when some of them still control the machinery in their states to either work for him or work against him? Would they want them to become a wiki for Atiku or...
We leave the rest. Well, Alesta, let's delve into the issue of ministries now. Some people have talked about the issue of some of these ministries have to, merge. Others will have to be separated. Recall under former President Buhari, where we had the Minister of Power and Minister of Power, Works and Housing, yeah. And then he had to, separate power, because power in itself is a huge, huge endeavor. Yeah. Now, people are talking about the issue of Ministry of Information and Culture, which tourism is part of it. they're talking about separating tourism because tourism is a huge business of its own. There's also the talk about the separation of Ministry of Works separately from housing. Housing is a huge, endeavor. Works is a huge endeavor by itself. Speak to us from that perspective. Also, it was under President Buhari, former President Buhari, that we had the Ministry of Humanitarian, affairs, and So, what are you seeing? Could there likely be new ministries coming up, merging some and separating others? And what are you seeing?
Yes, thank you. Let me also say, without any doubt in my mind, that this is, in recent time, we had a president that is really prepared for the job. Not accidental, not co-opted. I would say President Buhari was prepared, but after a point, he chickened out before he was still brought back into the job. So this is somebody that left office about 20 years ago, or thereabout, and was still active in governance, in politics. And so he's not oblivious of the issues and the challenges around. If I just delve a little bit to what Gbola said with respect to the mix of ministers. First, I thought he wasn't going to go there. The president is a politician. First, he knows the job. He knows the job. He knows the issues. And again, he's a politician. So there must be that balancing of political expediency, performance, and future endeavors. Because you must satisfy interests. You must satisfy even those that were not for you, as at the time you are contesting that election. That is a man with a broad heart. And this is what has worked for President Bola Tinubu all these years. He's a man with broad heart that accepts no matter who even no matter how you wrong him. I remember what happened with him. When Ekiti, when they lost Ekiti during the second term of this guy, who is the senator now? I think the leader of the Senate. What's his name?
Bamidele.
I mean, when he went to Labour Party and cost them the state. When he walked back, he was with open hands. So if you walk back to him, even after you have done the worst of, just like Gbola said, somebody who has criticized him, he needs people to work. And so he put his personal ego, personal everything, and that's what has worked for him. Look, if not for Bola Tinubu, APC would have been roasted in this election. Roasted. If not for the person of Bola Tinubu, APC will have been, in fact, will have gone into oblivion. And let them not think that APC is standing on anything. Even those that were working from the presidency to think they have, maybe they're even working against the party from what they were doing. Because if you have presented with due respect to the former vice president, we have presented the vice, APC will have, PDP will have roasted him. I think will have roasted, in fact, even in the Southwest, will have roasted APC with in fact, like a Christmas goat. So we must understand the personality and the political sagacity and the intellectual capacity of the president we have today in Nigeria. It is a man that knows it. So back to your question. So I am thinking that there's going to be a lot of, because remember, First Kemo raised the important issue toward the twilight of the administration, talking about the Minister of State. I don't think that will go out in the short run. There might still be Minister of State, but there are going to be a lot of ministries now. Like you said, culture and tourism is in itself in fact, that is what Gambia lives on tourism now. What else is there in Gambia?
Namibia, Gambia,
a lot of countries
Kenya
live on tourism. They have developed tourism to enviable heights, to the point that it is now their own oil. So that is a business. You are talking about digital economy. That is a big business. So look, we must start treating government services as a business. And in fact, when I was coming, I was saying in my mind, I was thinking when I was having my bath, sometimes I get my expression when I'm taking my bath. I'm saying we don't even treat the judiciary as a business. Because people file frivolous cases. The time a judge is sitting down, listening to some mundane, useless propositions, is cost. Government pays for that time. It's a cost to the government, to the taxpayer. By the time you flood judges with all manner, so the issue of cost, to all these frivolous fly-by-night judges, lawyers,
I can in Lagos State.
fly-by-night judge, lawyers that will wake up and carry everything to court and waste court time, waste police time. It must be, there must cost element to it. And people must treat government as business. It's time has gone when civil servants think I'm just there. When a policeman think I'm just on the road. It's a cost. The British economy cannot afford the kind of laxity that we have with our police forces. They can't afford the laxity we have with our judiciary. Because they see everything as a cost component. So we don't just sit down and be shouting. So all these ministries that need, yes, government must provide services. I agree. Government must provide for the society. But the ones that government can use to generate wealth for the betterment of the bigger society, I think we must start treating government business as a cost, as business, and make sure that the full advantage, because every time we keep saying government is not doing, does government print money? I ask people, does government print money? Anyway, government have no right to print money without commensurate activity.
Yeah, but the government is the one who actually prints money. If they have
print money, but you don't print money and trade.
You don't do it arbitrarily.
No, you don't do arbitrary. There must be a corresponding economic activity that will generate printing of money. Is that when you are printing money, is that you are replacing the old ones? You don't just wake up and just start pump, except there is a stabilization effect. You now begin to pump in. But after a while, that fiduciary issue must be withdrawn, so you don't create inflation and create distortion in the society.
I see the accountancy in you is coming out.
I just told you that he's the chairman of ICANN in Lagos.
Just to correct him, I'm an immediate past chairman.
Okay,
very good. But once a chairman is always a chairman.
Once a chairman,
so I can see the issue of cost. You need to be prudent. But the point there is,
it does matter.
Yes, but in governance, it is said that the presidential system of government is expensive by itself, the way it is, the way it's run. If you compare it to the parliamentary, of course, the parliamentary, where you even have a fusion of the legislature and the executive, and then people who are ministers, who are legislators here, ministers here, and you don't necessarily receive extra, cost. All of those things are there. So it is only natural for one to think that the presidential system of government we run is expensive by itself. But when people talk about the cost of governance, how do we balance that as a way of letting people know, of course, monies will go into this, but we need to also be prudent. So how do we take that side by side?
The presidential system of government relative to the Westminster parliamentary system of government in most liberal democracies is expensive. Expensive because you are creating three, like you earlier stated, three distinct arms of government. Distinct is the strategic word here.
Distinct, yeah.
The presidency, which is an institution far bigger than the personage of the president, is in itself with the executive an arm of government, captured under the executive arm of government. And that is why inevitably we have the appointment of ministers. Because if it were to be in the parliamentary system of government, the ministers would have been chosen from amongst the elected members of the legislature. You see the degree of systemic cost saving. Let's stay. Let's stay on the cost.
Exactly.
On the cost. However, I'm one who believes that if the president were to intend to save money or reduce the cost of government, it behoves him on the executive side to find a way of working with the Oronseye report. There are plethora of departments and agencies out there that are replicating each other's statutory functions. In fact, some of the clashes that these departments and agencies get into bring government into a form of stasis, a form of, so that could be reviewed. I'm also one who believes that we need to preach a degree of circumspection to our legislators. I am not one who goes about believing that because you have been elected, they should not buy you vehicles, they should not buy you. Look, I'm a director on a number of these things. There are some entitlements. When you get there, I don't pretend to be saint. But you know what? Especially in Nigeria, where a legislator, as a result of the functional and organic ignorance in our polity, where a legislator is seen by his or her constituents as a money bag for the society.
Exactly.
I didn't know when you impregnated your wife. 9 months, you had 9 months to plan for the pregnancy. Your wife just gave birth and you came to my door. My wife is a politician, also I get to some preposterous things. They will knock on your door and say, your wife, in Yoruba, the person has no working knowledge of any wife he or she has anywhere. In fact, in the case of somebody like my wife, she is a woman, so as a woman, now given, and they expect
what does that mean?
They expect you to dole out the money for the naming ceremony
of the child that they give birth to.
That they gave birth to without your knowledge.
You don't have any idea.
Without
You're
your
just hearing it.
Look, we have to be a bit sympathetic to some of these characters in public life.
Exactly.
The degree of assault, mental, emotional assault that they get from many of their constituents because of the institutionalization of poverty mentally in our society. Mentally. Because this is a land of golden opportunity.
Exactly.
I tell youngsters that I mentor, I have 2 training institutes. I tell them, there is no better. You know what? A couple of days ago, a boy called me and was crying. And I said, why? He said, sir, you have always told us. A company that I'm partnering with in England, some construction companies are now coming to Nigeria through one of my institutes to recruit artisans. I'm not talking of doctors, I'm not talking of lawyers, I'm talking of artisans, plumbers, carpenters. Recruiting them with 5-year work permit and this thing. They took me to England to go and inspect the facility they will live in. They'll be paid, and after that 5 years, they would have indefinite leave to remain in the UK. Go do something. Stop complaining. I'm not saying there are no challenges out there. There are challenges for everybody. But this is still one country that is a land of opportunity that if you reorientate your head and put your hands to something. So the cost element, we have to keep shouting. And once we keep shouting, between the executive and the legislature, they must find a way of adhering to a degree of circumspection. Look, and I've seen it done before. I work regularly because of my directorship in an automobile training institute and company. I've seen where 2 agencies were collapsed together. National Automotive Council and National Auto Design Council before were collapsed together under Jonathan to be now NADDC, National Automotive Design and Development Council. It's been done before. We can do it. And there are a number of departments and agencies out there practically replicating themselves, putting governance into stasis and affecting the positive impact that they could make on society. So that's the only advice I can put on the table. But you know what is easy? Like we say when I was in Mushi, he who watches the game plays better. After Wamoto King Jam now, you start me, you reverse. If it were that easy, there won't be an accident.
It's the same way the spectators in the match.
They seem
play
to know.
better than
They're better than Ferguson. They're better than Ferguson and this is all put together. In fact, they're better than what's the Man City coach now? They're better than all of them put together.
Pep Guardiola and the others.
Exactly. When you're watching the match, even the selection, they will tell you, some will tell you,
they know everything.
Selection our coach did.
Exactly. All right. So the point is, we're here now, and Nigerians are looking forward to the cabinet or the government of President Tinubu taking off properly by the time the ministers are in, and then they are given their portfolios, and then the ministries will start working the way they're supposed to, and people will start seeing the kind of project. Because usually Nigerians, maybe because of the state of things, they want to physically see a project before they feel that the government is working. There has to be that physical thing. That there's a road, there's a house, there's, they're bringing this down to erect this, and so on. But policies are also part of the entire process, of course. We're going through the shakes of some of the policies now. But speak to us from the window of the thoroughness in the screening process. Now, Nigerians expected that somehow some of them would be grilled, tighten the noose against them, so on. So it is at that level that they know the screening is being thorough. Just like some people expect that there should be a fight between the legislature and the executive to show that they are not a rubber stamp legislature. But that aspect is also for us to understand. Some of these people have been governors, have been different things in their lives and so on, so they have some level of experience. But make us understand how thorough the screening process was from your perspective.
Let me just take 30 seconds to speak to what Gbola said. Gbola made a very, very valid point for which has been my position ever since. People say, Alesta don't understand what people are feeling. You don't know what people are going through. You support government. You're always blaming the citizenry. You don't know what people are going through. I tell them something. This man you're seeing here, I've sold pap. I've sold granuts on the streets of Port Harcourt. I've sold gari, bread, ogi on the streets of Port Harcourt. Not in VI, in the streets of Port Harcourt, to tell you my background. I'm proud of my background. Not because I don't have a loving mother that saw day and night, God bless her soul, to give us the best that we could. But of course, as kids, you know this joy of being happy to support, just like Gbola said, he follows the ledger, to support. These are the things we should be telling people. Most of analysts that comes on, they came from the same background. Most of them have worst backgrounds. But when they come on TV, because they are opportune, they want to play the good boy, they want to be accepted, they lie to people and making you believe government is your father, is your mother, is your God, is everything. Therefore, government must provide everything. For you. You have a man that is having 8 children. You are still in one, you have 8 children. And then you are blaming government for not making your children to go to school. You have 8 children in one room in this modern time. You are still having more. So, and when we come on air, and then we are saying we blame government because the government is God and everything. Look, I tell you, I walked myself to the university. Thank God the government university are not paid for, and that is the only advantage I have gained in this country. Went to the government university, and I salute the Nigerian state for giving me that opportunity. My ICANN, did anybody pay for me? I paid for myself. And I'm proud of this badge. See me wear this badge, I'm proud of it because this is my sweat. And I'm proud of the government that gave me university education. And that's why I must speak proudly of Nigeria. You can't take it out from me. No matter the government in power, I will speak proudly about Nigeria. Because if not for Nigeria, being that we have such opportunities, I will not be here. Maybe I will have being in my village drinking or just wasting away somewhere.
Or being a
But
fisherman.
because I have that intellect, because I have that sense, because I have that determination. So anybody who is thinking that he will stay there, fold his arm, and be pressing phone, and thinking that government is your father, government is not the one that paid for that. That means that tell your father to present your mother and to bring it to one, and to make it of you that cannot feed you, then you are joking. Get your hand to something. Get your hand into something doing. That is the only way you can make Nigeria work. There are opportunities. Government has given us opportunities. I'm not holding brief. I've not worked for government. I don't know anybody in government.
Not only
I've
government, my
never worked
brother.
for anywhere in government.
Not only government. You know what? We have scholarships. We have scholarships waiting for youngsters, and they won't come for it because all of them want to hammer.
So let us always tell the truth. Whenever we begin to want to be popular, and yeah, that man is saying because you are abusing government, you are not. I'm not holding brief for government. I'm not working for government. Government has its own responsibility, has its own faults, have its own. We have had people in government that are not supposed to be in government, that have used the system to enrich themselves, to make themselves, to popularize the people. That is another aspect of the story. When we get there, we'll cross it. But to you as a citizen, you owe yourself a responsibility. Now, talking about the thoroughness of the situation, I am, well, it's like comme ça, comme ça. Right. The way we've been doing it before. Now, when you don't attach a portfolio to a minister, what are they going to grill? You only ask the man his basic statistics, his basic biodata,
profile,
his basic
biography.
Profile. Yes, that's what you ask, because there is no ministry to be grilled. Now, if my governor, Wike, was assigned a portfolio of Ministry of Defense.
Yeah, okay. Your former governor.
My former governor. Of Ministry of Defense, for instance. And then you can grill him on, what are your plans for defense? If he was assigned Minister of Tourism, you can grill him on, what are your plans for tourism? What are your prospects? Because even by then, the president will have told him, I am nominating you as defense minister. I'm nominating you as industry minister. Then you will have gone to prepare and research and use your assistants to research and to know what to face, what to bring to the table. But in this case, it is not so. And I want to believe that President Bola Tinubu, who is the most progressive government we have in Nigeria since I was born, the real progressive government we have ever had, and this is this government. I've been a progressive right from Awolowo time when I was just 11 years old. I've been a progressive. And this is the time I'm seeing, we missed it in 1993. This is the time we're having it back. So I believe that going forward, things might be done differently, not the way the conservatives are doing it. Maybe this is just because of the first time. You need to consolidate. You need to play the part and consolidate. Maybe during the second tenure, by God's grace, we need to start adding portfolios to ministries. I want to give you a job. I call you. I'm giving you a job as finance minister. What are your plans for me for finance ministry?
I didn't do ICANN, though. No, I'm just kidding.
So in that case, your profile goes to the Senate. And then the Senate will not grill you based on that. And you see, in Nigeria, like I said in a forum, we like too much ceremony. Left to me, there's no, the court never said that all the ministers must be sworn in one day. The court never said that. Appoint ministers. Left to me, you appoint 10 today, they grill the 10, they clear the 10, they start work. You appoint 5 the next day. I mean, in America, people start appointing. I mean, that is the one where we copied it now.
Immediately after elections.
After election, they start. In fact,
the president starts naming
the old, even before a new Senate or a new House takes over, because the Senate, anyway, the Senate has a longevity of. There's always 63.
Previous this thing is prorogued. They even confirm.
They confirm ministers.
Exactly.
They confirm ministers.
Confirm secretaries.
They confirm secretaries. Anyway, because they have a longevity. At the time you have 66% of them remaining. So only 1/3 goes for regular re-elections. So they start confirming. But in this case, you have to wait for the ceremony, the paparazzi, and then by the time they are all confirmed and sent to the president, you now go to Eagle Square. And then you are village people, you are chief, you are Oba, everybody, they would charter bus to come and watch the swearing. That's like Obasanjo did in 1999. You now come and watch. Is that not where the corruption starts? Is that not where the people will now start making expectations? It's only where the people now say, our son is there, Oga, that boy that is languishing, take him along. That one, Oga, bring chiefs, their obas will be giving the man. So there's too much ceremony around some of these things. So for me, this is the time, because Nigerians are expecting so much from this president. Already, the policies that have started that will kickstart the entire turnaround is already giving bad image. A lot of people are saying reverse anti-pupil. I say, what is anti-pupil policy? Is remote anti-pupil policy. It's not anti-pupil policy. This is something that has been on the offing.
In fact, Nigerians had.
This is what has been on the offing for too long.
Subsidy to
be removed. All the whole presidential candidates talked about removal. So what makes it anti-people? Now it has given us discipline. Who doesn't like discipline? Today I drive. Today any day, not every day. Hear me. Not every day. Any day I move out of the house with my car, I am happy. You know why? I don't burn more fuel in the traffic.
No more traffic.
So it is people's policy.
Yeah.
So it is people's policy because it brings discipline. All those people that would drive their V8 and all that, go and park in malls, and their driver will be inside, and the engine will be on, the AC will be on, waiting for madam to finish 3-hour shopping or in the salon or something. They are on. The thing is blowing. And now, would they do it? Discipline will come in. And that's what we need. And then the government must be able to see how they use the resources that is now being freed up to show like I said, to show the people. And people do not expect to see how. Now, if we say tourism, please, how do you see a structure called tourism? It is by when hotels begin to make more money. When you print welcome to Nigeria t-shirts, and you are selling in places where beaches are now becoming real beaches, and you are selling your made in Nigeria artifacts. What else do we get in London when we travel now? Is it not, each time I go to London, I must buy London tea, the one that has this thing. I must buy one artifact or the other. Or apart from that, but what else? Do you go and get anything and come back? So that is the tourism that we take. When people go to London, they go and watch Buckingham Palace, they go and see Westminster, they will just pass. Any that I go to London, I still go to Downing Street to take picture and come. And you see, go there now. What's today? Go there now. You see people taking pictures on Downing Street. So you are not. That is tourism. So how will you see the structure of that? You can see
is London Mushi?
Well, it's good. The point there is we don't have all the time anymore, but I think from your perspective and insights, Nigerians will have a better understanding of some of the things that Nigerians put too much emphasis on. Those are not necessarily the issues. Like you started by saying, see, there are so many issues right now that Nigerians should focus on how you were talking about prudence and cutting down on the cost of things. You were talking about the issue
very vital existential issues.
Hardworking young people. There is hope. There is possibility.
Unnecessary opportunities
and so on. So these are the things I believe that as a government,
Ghanaians are looking for tilers now. Yeah. And they're saying, I was watching on Ghana TV that they're saying Togo and Benin is also taking over their tiling jobs in Ghana.
See,
Nigerian tailors are taking over their tailoring business in Ghana.
Right. As far as Senegal.
Okay, we have to.
So we have a lot of things.
We have to leave it here, gentlemen. Alesta, Wilcox, thank you so much for coming on the program.
It's always my pleasure.
Lalong, thank you so much for coming.
Husband of many wives. Oh, sorry. That was supposed to be.
You see, he has given me a nickname now. Can you imagine?
Because every time I see another woman,
it's justiciable. It's justiciable.
No, don't make it justiciable.
No, it's justiciable. He's team playing.
Husband of many wives.
He's team playing.
Your harem is going.
All right, with that, now we end today's program. We have to let you know that the views and reaction of all our resource persons are their views and have no connection with TVC News. We thank you for spending your week with us. And this morning, on behalf of Kemi and the entire crew, I am Mike Okwoche.